Hello, my name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia, and thank you for joining me for today's video. Today the theme is different shades of red. So of course that just shouted Valentine's Day. This is the card that I've done, and this is using a new technique that I've recently stumbled across, which is called the Inlaid Floating technique. So let me show you what I'm going to be using today. I'm using the Always in My Heart stamp set. There are dies that go with it, but I'm not using those dies. I'm using the Stitched Be Mine dies. Now, this is a really nice set. It's got a whole heap of dies in it. Lots of different shaped hearts. This one's quite pretty as well, but I'm using this big one, which when it cuts, it actually cuts in one piece, but it cuts a heart and a little edge piece, which you can use either or both or combined. What we need for this is some window sheet, and the best advice that I can give you when you're using window sheeting is make sure that you know where you put it down, because trust me, you won't know where you've put it, which is exactly what I've done. I can't find the big sheet that I had, but this is two smaller pieces which I'm going to just put together. And once I've got my strips over, we're not going to actually see that it's not one sheet. But note to self for window sheeting, don't put it down because you won't be able to find it. What I have here is some strips that I've cut from Cherry Cobbler, Poppy Parade, and Real Red. And I'm using some of the red with the hearts from the Snail Mail Designer Series paper. I've cut these 1 and 1.5 centimeters wide. I quite like that, but you can go with whatever size you like. I'm going to work on my silicone mat so that I don't get glue over everything. I'm using the old snail just to use it up, but your Stampin' Seal will work as well. All we're going to do is layer the strips onto the window sheet, leaving a tiny little gap between them. Now, I actually want to put it that way because otherwise it's not going to fit. So I've got my strips all the way along. I'm going to cut the excess off the back, and then we're going to take the die and run that through the Big Shot machine. The window sheeting is quite a bit thicker than standard cardstock, so you may need to run it through the Big Shot machine a few times to make sure that it's cut all the way through. And then you're going to need to just gently work it out in some of the places where it looks like it's hanging on a bit tighter. And we're going to pop the heart out of the middle. Now, I'm not concerned if this outer edge tears because I'm not using that for this card. I'm only going to be using the inner heart. If it wanted to come out easily, I could keep the outside and use that for a different project, but that's what I want for now. And then we're going to use the black bit that I cut out earlier, which is going to go around the edge of the heart. So I've got a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock, and I have my white first layer. This time, instead of making a Valentine's card, I'm going to use the happy anniversary. I have a friend who has an anniversary coming up, so we'll make this one an anniversary card instead of a Valentine's card. My heart is going to take up quite a big piece of the cardstock over here, so I'm going to stamp my happy anniversary towards the bottom. And using these tiny little hearts from the stamp set, I'm going to stamp some hearts next to it. And I'm going to stamp some hearts just in the bottom corner over here for the inside of the card as well. That's all my stamping done. Let's stick this onto the front of the card. Now I'm going to take some of my foam strips and I'm going to stick the foam strips along the back of the window sheeting. So it's going to give that the lift that it needs on the card to make it float. I'm going to put the foam strips at the back of the heart as well. go. So that's got the foam strips stuck all over the back. Now we'll just peel off the backing. And we're going to just lay that onto my card. Then I'm taking my black heart and going with a light hand, just putting glue around it. Here I'm using the Tombow glue because that's going to just be easier to put it on, and I may need to slide it a little bit when I stick it, so my Stampin' Seal is not going to give me that sort of little bit of wiggle room. So we're putting that in there, and the black bit is going to stick down, so that right on the bottom or onto the card. And we're going to then peel the backing off the strips on the heart. And that's going to fit right in there. So there's our card done. I'm going to stick the insert inside. And the last thing, bling. So this time I stamped the solid hearts instead of the open hearts. So I'm going to take a couple of the red rhinestones and put them into a few of the hearts. And there's our cards. I hope you have fun with this technique. You can use lots of different cutouts and things to do it, as long as you've got something that sort of has an inside and an outside that you can cut out. If you liked my video, please subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.